Hi and welcome again to Unit 2, Communications in Business. Lesson 2, Unit 2. Graphs and charts and letters of introduction. Now, in Lesson 1, we looked how you should make business calls and leave messages. Lesson 2 moves on to how we might use charts and graphs to paint a picture that words on a telephone could not portray. A telephone would simply not be enough, and we'd need to give a presentation using pictures and charts to help us explain something. As they say, a picture paints 1,000 words, and in my experience, that's certainly true. Now, Lesson 2 first considers the advantages of using charts and graphs. Using charts and graphs can help the audience grasp visually the message that is trying to be conveyed. Charts and graphs are especially useful if there's a great deal of detail that would normally take up too much time explaining, and you need to compact the information to a visual summation. Knowing your audience helps creating the right kind of charts and graphs to use. For example, if you're addressing a team of sales representatives, you want to search for sales charts and graphs that typically a sales team will understand visually. When utilizing charts and graphs, keep in mind that they are to be supplemental to using words. Charts and graphs can be very powerful in visual presentations, but only if done effectively. Now, let's take a look at the disadvantages of using charts. There are many formats that can be used in creating charts and graphs that could make it quite difficult or frustrating to choose the correct one and effectively use. Too many charts and graphs can also come across as very confusing, lacking clarity, or even irrelevant. After looking at the advantages and disadvantages of charts, Lesson 2 moves on to looking at letters of recommendation. The first time I was asked to write a letter of recommendation for a student, I was thrilled. Finally, I had an opportunity to write a letter for someone else, rather than endlessly requesting letters from my own faculty advisors. Although my own mentors were always generous in writing on my behalf, I was always nervous asking them for letters of recommendation, sensing that it would be a burden on their time. As a university teacher and often mentor myself, I started to view letter writing differently. In my first years as a faculty member, I wanted to make sure that my own students were comfortable asking me for letters, so I would go out of my way in class to say that, I felt that, and still feel that it's part of my job and my responsibility to my students. As the famous Jason Jones wrote in September 2011 post in the Chronicle, writing recommendation letters can be very fulfilling as you look back over a student's work and reflect on the fact that they trust you to help them to further their future goals. In recent years, however, the number of letters I've been asked to write has increased substantially, a function of the large number of former students one accumulates over the course of more than a decade in teaching. The economy may also be a factor, as many students are choosing to return to graduate school rather than face a tough job market. Our lesson, in its second part, considers the different types of recommendation letters. Okay, enough of the introduction. Time for you guys to get down and do some work. Happy studying, and I'll see you later in the wrap-up summary video. Bye for now.